Hello everybody, SammyFW here, bringing you my patch 5.4 Arms Rear DPS guide. Now, the changes. They aren't the greatest, but they have really helped. Arms is finally competitive, and I am so excited to see how the gear scaling is really going to affect Arms as we get up to the higher item levels for Siege of Orgrimmar and the Siege of Orgrimmar weapons. It'll be so interesting to see. Me at 520 at the moment, I am pulling so much better ever since the patch. It is really fantastic. Now, I'm going to move straight into it now with stat priority. Obviously, you always want the hit and expertise cap. 7.5%. Always go for that. That is your main priority, as always. Next, crit. I don't count strength here, I count crit. Because of the changes of talents in MOP, where he has suffered with a lot of crit loss. So I really do take crit over strength, even strength, because it becomes so much more beneficial. After crit, it's strength, then haste, then mastery. That is what you want to go for. Now, on to talents. First tier, Juggernaut or Double Time, whichever one you prefer. It's just down to preference. Personally, as you can see, I prefer Double Time. Second tier, Enrage Regen, no. It's on a 1 minute cooldown. I don't really see any use for it. Second win, there's the only time you're going to be below 35% health is if you're wiping in a raid. Not really much use for PvE, obviously brilliant for PvP. Impending Victory, 20% heal, been buffed from 15% from last patch. This is excellent. It helps out healers, and it's also a good filler if you're rage starved. But hopefully you won't be after you've watched this video. Third tier, Piercing Hell has its uses in certain fights. Immersius, first boss of Siege of Orgrimmar, very handy for taking out his ads that go to him in the second phase, very useful there. But generally, Disrupting Shout is more handy. 2 interrupts is always great to have, especially an AoE interrupt. Brilliant. The fourth tier, Bladestorm got a buff. It was 120% weapon damage on a 1 minute 30 cooldown. I believe it was 30. It was 30, either 30 or 45. Now it's 180% weapon damage and on a 1 minute cooldown. This is excellent. For AoE, this is brilliant. And for the Bloodstorm that's been talked about, the DPS is amazing, especially second fight in Siege of Orgrimmar. It pulls so well. I am consistently either first or second on the DPS meters in that fight, although my guildmates are a lot better geared than me and better DPS classes. But for single target, Dragon Roar is still going to be your main one to have. It pulls a lot better for single target. Fifth tier, it depends on the situation entirely. Vigilance has been changed. You reduce the teammates' damage taken by 30% now, not you receive 30% of the damage they're taking. A lot better. Use it on any heavy AoE damage raid encounters. Safeguard, situational, and Mesmer Reflection. I generally run with this one. It comes in handy, but it's all interchangeable. I constantly change these ones. Now, for your last tier, Stormbolt, don't even worry about that. Just don't even bother. AoE, Bloodbath. As I mentioned, Bloodstorm. Excellent. But for single target, and I actually haven't done this yet, Avatar. Avatar is really good for the single target this patch now. Not much changed, but it's the damage increase of arms that really helps out with Avatar, so for single target, definitely, along with Dragon Roar, you're really going to like it. Now glyphs, as a general rule of thumb, I roll with, obviously the minor glyphs aren't really that useful for warriors, but Glyph of Death from Above, Recklessness, and Bull Rush. Bull Rush is an important factor in not getting rage starved, because that extra 15 rage is really handy at the beginning. When I start a fight, I usually have 100 rage by the time I start my rotation. Right, so that's the talents and the glyphs done. Now, the all-important rotation that I've ratted on a little bit about. Now, start the fight, Battle Shout. That's 20 rage instantly. Next, hit your macro for your cooldown. So, mine, Recklessness, Blood Fury, Skull Banner, Avatar. Have them all together, they all proc at the same time. Next, I hit Berserker Rage. I have that on a macro because it works with Bloodbath. When I'm rolling Bloodbath, it's on the same macro, so that's why it's grey at the moment. But I hit Berserker Rage, so you've got that instant enrage at the start of the fight. Next, Dragon Roar. I'm basing this on a single target, obviously. Then you can get started. This next bit has changed a little bit. I used to use Heroic Strike as a rage dump, over 80 rage. Now, because of the rage cost of Slam, I don't even bother. There's no point. You're going to rage starve yourself, and Slam does so much damage it makes up for that now. But after you've done that initial burst at the beginning, and you've still got all of these cooldowns up. Colossus Smash, Mortal Strike, 2 Overpowers and a Slam. By the time you've done that, with the global cooldowns and everything, Mortal Strike's back up. So you generally go through the Mortal Strike, Overpower, Slam. And whenever Colossus Smash comes off of cooldown, you hit a Colossus Smash before a Mortal Strike, therefore utilising the cooldown, or the debuff of Colossus Smash. So, I didn't mean to do that, but yep. Just like this. So you see, Colossus Smashes up, bang, I've got a macro for my Overpowers, and my Slam, didn't get a crit there, but as you can see, this pulls quite nicely. That was a nice Mortal Strike there. So, you look, I'm not getting rage starved whatsoever. I am staying at a good amount of rage, even though our rage cost of Slam has been increased, as we all know, but it's the damage increase. And it's quite good, what I've done with the macro. It's literally a cast sequence, 2 Overpowers and a Slam. So generally, my main rotation, I'm only hitting 3 buttons. Maybe a little lazy, but it's beneficial. Makes things a little bit easier. So you see Colossus Smash back up, and there we go. I'll post that macro into the description, so you can just copy and paste it. It's not that long, but it's still worth writing up. Now, for AoE fights, swap out some talents here. Oh, cooldown, sorry. Right, I'll explain it, right. Blade Storm and Bloodbath, obviously. For AoE, generally, I will just Battle Shout for the rage occasionally, and just Mortal Strike, and I'll always start off just Thunderclapping to get the deep wounds up, and it does a fair amount of damage, and then I'll hit Bloodbath, Blade Storm, example, I use them the same keys, and then just as filler I'll just Whirlwind. This works out best. This is like a lot of AoE. If it's a few targets, then obviously you want to hit the sweeping strikes and you'll be A-OK, but generally it's quite easy for the AoE. Execute phases. obviously people are already attacking this and people can test this now. It's really quite simple in an execute phase. Generally just Mortal Strike, Colossus Smash, execute, overpower, execute, overpower. I also have a macro for this, just hit MS whenever you can, and Colossus Smash after the MS, so you utilise the executes on the debuff. This is generally your best bet. Like, all I'm doing is this, and I haven't popped any cooldowns, and I'm doing just under 100k DPS. I put a lot more in a raid, obviously a raid buffed and everything, but there we go, hit the 100k mark. So yeah, that's generally what you want to do as an arms warrior now. The changes have been brilliant. We are really pulling a lot better, and I suspect gear scaling by the time we're all through Siege of Orgrimmar, the Furies will all be arms, because it's always that way. At the end of an expansion, arms always pulls better. So thank you for watching. I'll see you next time.